Okay, we're talking with Suzie Smith and her beautiful gallery here in Dorchester on Eldon Street. And all your friends call you Cookie.
Yes.
So, Cookie, tell us a brief synopsis of where you came from.
Cookie, I'm from Selma, Alabama. And I moved to Boston in '65, went to junior high school at the Timothy. After the Timothy, Jeremiah Burke High School. From the Burke to Vesper George School of Art. From Vesper George School of Art to probably Roxbury Community College because I took a break. Then I went to Mass College of Art, went back to school after a couple of years, went to Mass College of Art. And from Mass College of Art, junior year, I believe, and I was in the fashion department at Mass College of Art.
Yeah.
And they had a seasonal fashion show at the end of the year, and I participated in the fashion show, and that showcased your work that you did for the year. And when I did that the junior year, there was someone in the audience that came to visit and to see the line from other artists for someone else. But this lady that came in, Baronessa, that was her name, and she saw my work, and she called me. She said, I saw you in the fashion show at Mass College of Art. I was there to see someone else, but I loved your work. And so she asked me, what was I going to do? And I'm like, what am I going to do? I'm going to New York. It just popped out of my head. And so I didn't know quite how I was going to do that because I had two children, two sons. So that's how I got into fashion. So I went to New York. My aunt kept the two boys for me while I went to New York and explored fashion.
You're known for your beautiful black angels and spiritual beings.
Yeah.
Can you tell me how your creative journey began?
Oh, with the angels? How did I start with the angels? I suppose I started, I love dolls, and I always was a dreamer, Capricorn. They're thinking and dreaming about stuff and beautiful things from a kid when I was in Alabama. And I love dolls. I always loved dolls. I think I had maybe one or two dolls, and I did the corn husk dolls and made dolls out of everything. So I just love dolls. But when I didn't think about making a doll until I visit, they had a black doll show here in Roxbury at the big church. I don't know the name of that church in Roxbury down on Detley Street, the big church. Well, anyway, they had a black doll show there, and I went one Sunday evening, and they had artists there, professional artist, Jane Brasbury. And she's a doll maker. I mean, really, she made beautiful dolls. So she was the host. She was a guest artist there. So I looked at her, and I said, okay, this is how you make a doll. She demonstrated how to make a doll. And I said, oh, wow, okay. I'm making a doll, but I'm doing wax, out of wax, because I'm doing bronze, so I'm doing sculpture work. Once I did the wax doll, I visited her, and so afterwards she passed out a brochure with her address on it. I said, I'm going to call her because it was so interesting how she demonstrated in making a doll. So I called her, and she said, oh, I said, I was at the doll show, and I was interested in how you make a doll, and you did a great demonstration of how you would make a doll. So she said, oh, well, are you interested in making a doll? I said, yeah, I'm trying to make a wax doll. She said, oh goodness, that's a lot of work. So she said, well, I'm in my studio, so if you want to come over, you could come over now. And I said, oh, I'll be right there. So I jumped in the car and I went to her studio.
Where did she live?
And she lived in Quincy.
Okay.
And so I got in the car and I got over there, and she was so gracious, she was so nice. And she gave me, she said, "You have it, Susie. I'm pleasantly surprised that, I took my little wax doll."
Yeah.
So she gave me some tools. She said, here's some clay, here's some needle that she, knitting needle actually, and she made a tool out of that. And she gave me a set of eyes, and she gave me the clay, and she gave me some printouts of a doll, the body parts and so forth. She said, "Now go do it." I was back at her house in 2 days, and that's the doll over there, my first doll. She's over there in the corner. And I took it back. She said, "Oh my goodness, you really did it." I said, "Yeah." So she's my mentor, and I still, each piece that I do, I have to send to her, and she'll come check it out, because I did a few other pieces that that's not here.
So you two became pretty good friends, eh? You two became pretty good friends.
Oh yeah,
right?
we're
You and
good
Miss
friends,
Bradbury?
very good friends. Yeah, yes, and her work is absolutely beautiful. And she's like, everything I do, I have her to check it out. What do you think about her face, or what do you think about her body? And I was doing everything so big. She said, Susie, these dolls are too big and too heavy. That's the dolls over there standing in the corner. Nobody's buying dolls that big. Okay, so I started getting smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller. So that's
Interesting.
yeah.
So your angels, I want to call them.
And
Each one has a name.
yes.
And how do you arrive at naming them and what and special significance they have?
Not well. Most of them, like the angels up here, that was the team is when we get to heaven.
That's beautiful.
That's when we get to heaven. And it was a tribute to my grandson and my sister-in-law that had passed. And I think it was the Medicine Wheel. They had exhibit, and they asked me to participate.
That's the Medicine Wheel Gallery
Gallery
in South Boston, right?
Boston, yes.
Yeah.
And they asked me to participate, and the theme was spirits. And when they said spirits, I was like, okay, spirits. And that was my spirits, was my grandson and my sister-in-law. And I did a painting, a portrait of them in the clouds.
Yeah.
And those were the dances. So when we get to heaven, we're going to dance and shout and play some drums. So that's my tribute to my grandson.
These are
and
beautiful.
there is pictures back there right there, the little picture right there of them.
So is it true that Minister Louis Farrakhan came here and purchased one of your angels?
Yes, he did. Surprise, surprise, surprise. But it was wonderful.
He must have had the same
surprise.
reaction that most people have when they first step into your gallery.
You know what? I think he was curious of seeing Suzie, because he kept saying, Suzie, because black woman called Suzie. Yeah,
Oh,
I mean,
okay.
I think he was kind of surprised, that Suzie, so I think he wanted to come just to see Suzie.
Just to see
yeah,
who
so
Suzie was.
that was exciting when he did come, and he did buy an angel.
Let's
Yes,
talk
he
about
did.
your jewelry. You're a jewelry
Oh.
designer, and you sometimes use like unconventional materials. Can you talk a
When you
little
say
bit about that?
like glass
Yeah.
and metals, I use metals and copper, a lot of copper. I weave do a lot of weaving, knitting, and crocheting of the metals. Yeah,
That's
like the
incredible.
Viking chain stitches. All the chains, those are copper chains, and that is called the Viking stitch chains. So that's almost like knitting on a stick, and then you pull it through a jig, and that's how you get the chains made. And chain wrapping,
So-
metal wrapping.
You also created a tribute to an elderly lady you were taking care of for many years.
Oh, yeah.
She had a lot of dynamic qualities, including playing the saxophone in her younger
Yes.
years. Can you describe the beautiful memorial sculpture that you created incorporating the saxophone?
Yes, Miss Betty Ellis, and she was a senior at church. Yes, and I took care of her, And when she passed, she played the saxophone. I have pictures of her playing the saxophone. And she would come in the gallery and love to sit here. And she couldn't blow it at this time because she's like 92, trying to blow the sax. In that chair, I have pictures of her. But that piece is over in the corner here with her saxophone. So when she passed, what I did, I said, oh, I got to do something with this. So at the funeral, the head of her casket, I put sculpted the piece of wood and her saxophone there.
It fits right in.
And it fit right into the piece.
It looks like it was made for that saxophone.
Yeah. That's Miss Betty's saxophone.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Besides being a fantastic artist, you're also an astute businesswoman. What advice would you give to young people who are considering a career in art? And how strong an emphasis would you put on learning the business of art?
Oh, I'm terrible at the business of art, but I've learned.
Yeah.
And it's something that for me, I can't speak so much of trying to tell someone what to do. I say if you have a passion for something, you stay true to yourself. I've had ins and outs of, oh, you ain't going to make no money. Oh, you're not going to do this. You're not going to do that. But the love for it, and the spirit of it, and it's in you. It's in you. So you just keep working at it and believing in what you're doing, and don't get deterred from it. It's not that you're gonna make a whole lot of money in the beginning, but some people make a whole lot of money. But it's not for me to look at making a whole lot of money. It is the love for the art, and I love trying new things and different things, and having the challenge of doing something. Not self-taught, actually, because you just have to have the love for it. And I think young people should just go for the dream if they have it. It's a little different now because they have computers and different IT tech and all this stuff that I don't understand, but I'm sure they got it, but I don't understand it. But all I know is pencil, pad, and ink, and India ink, and some poster paints, and that's what I know.
One of your fellow alumni from the Mass College of Art is Paul Goodnight.
Yes.
And he talks in a similar way about having a passion and a love for what you're doing.
Yeah.
So it no longer becomes a job.
It's not a job. No, I love it. I can dream about what I'm gonna do, and I follow the spirit. I just get up and try it. It's just a love and a passion, and that's what it is.
Okay, let's talk about these fairies.
These
beautiful fairies.
That's a fairy. That's a fairy. These are my sky goddesses. She's a sky goddess. The body I wanted, to reflect sky, and her hair is the clouds. Today's fairies, I think of younger people with, the way they dress and the tattooing and the dreadlock hair, the different colors of hair, different expression, it's different and a little risque, but I think the tattoo bodies here.
Yeah, the little fairies there.
Face painting and face paintings and so forth. Yeah.
Let's talk about this motorcycle.
Oh, the motorcycle.
It was a found object, right?
Yeah.
And
the motorcycle was a fine, in a flea market in Alabama, Selma, Alabama, and I bought the
And you built the rider to scale to refit it.
And, and I had the motorcycle for a while, and I said, oh, let me make her the angel on the run. So, so I said I'll make her like Grace Jones hairstyle.
Yeah, that's incredible. The hair, it's got a little tattoo on the face and frills on the jacket. It's just a really, it looks like it was made for this motorcycle.
The motorcycle,
That's amazing.
Yeah, I think it's a young appeal as well. And angels can be, they don't have to be what they call angelic white and No.
Tell me a little bit about this beautiful lamp that you created.
Yeah, those are bronze lamps, and those are the illustrations of the bronze pieces that I've done.
Mm-hmm.
And they're lamps, exactly. Um, this lamp, this is a totem pole, I guess you can see that.
Mm-hmm.
And I created the shade from a placemat that I found at Pier 1. And I took a wooden bowl and I just,
And you
and I shaped it
Yeah.
on the bowl. And I just rigged this. And eventually, what I really wanted to do is kind of rigged together. But eventually I wanted to have it going through the totem pole.
Mm-hmm.
I was kind of discouraged from it because someone else didn't see my vision when I was having it done. And they thought it would be better as just a lamp. And I saw the vision. I knew what I wanted. But for some reason, at the foundry, they didn't want to do it. So this is what I wound up with. And so I rigged it.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's how that happened. And then the other lamp shades of lamp is back there, bronze.
Yeah, that's gorgeous.
Uh-huh, and that's a bronze, yeah. Bronze
So
statue.
it's not always easy to get somebody in the foundry to know exactly what your vision is, right? You
Right,
just have to
right. Because he believed that he liked statues. He couldn't see it as a lamp.
Mm-hmm.
But when I decided to do the lamps, the way I got started into doing the lamps, that I worked for Appleton's Antiques in Brookline, which is still there.
Mm-hmm.
And I would weld, like this lamp shade there, I would actually create the shade.
Mm-hmm.
I weld the shade. I learned to build a shade, and I would cover them for Appleton's Antiques. They were getting lampshades from England or someplace, and I saw it, and I said, oh, shoot, I can do that. And so the owner said, you could do that? So I came home, and I taught myself. I wanted to, because I was just covering shades for them.
Mm-hmm.
I was doing the balloon cover, shades. And I started covering shades for them. And so I decided, I'm tired of covering shades. I want to build a shade. So once I started building the shades, I said, oh no, I want to build a lamp. So I started making a lamp for the shade. So that's how I got into making lamp shades for Appleton's Antiques in Brookline. So, and the way I learned to do welding is my neighbors down on the corner, Mr. Coleman, had a trucking stop, right? He did flat tires, and they would weld parts and so forth. So I said, I'm going down the hill and asked Mr. Coleman if he would teach me how to weld. And because I want to make this lampshade. Now, how am I going to do the angles? How am I going to get this lampshade shaped? So I told Mr. Coleman what I wanted, and he would make me jigs out of the metals, scrap metals out of stuff, and he would just and put notches and things so that I can take a wire rod and I can bend the shape and get the same identical shape. And he taught me how to MIG weld and weld right down at the corner. So sometimes it's good to use resources in your neighborhood, although they might not look like the right kind of people because they're cursing and drinking and doing whatever, they want to do. But that's how I learned. I went and I asked, and sometimes that's how I learned to weld.
You might have created a creative spark in him.
Yes, and whenever I needed help, he was willing to help me. And even the other guys that worked down there, when I came, they were just as respectful, and they taught me to weld.
Wow.
And that's when I started making lamp shades.
Okay.
And I did that. So that's how I started making lamp shades. So in the house, I have lamp shades that I made.
Can you tell me what visions you have, if you can, of some projects you might work on in the future? Is there some direction that you want to go?
I can't tell you that. Spiritually, I don't know how I'm going to be led. I have no idea. It's like whatever comes up that's right, it happens. I don't have no plans. It just comes when it's time to come. I can't tell you what I'm going to be doing next.
Yeah.
And I just leave it. I don't even, I know it comes when it comes. And basically, most of the time it's dreaming, in a dream or sleep or something.
Yeah,
I would wake up
absolutely.
out of the bed, and that's how I work. My best work is rolling out of the bed
So
in the morning. Don't call, don't go nowhere, don't do nothing. I can't. I have to roll out of the bed and work when I have a vision of
Yeah,
something I have to do, and I can get to it.
that's very
But
interesting.
that's how I do, yeah. And I wait for the Spirit to lead me to do it. And I have to say, I can do all things through Christ that strengthens me.
Mm.
That's my thing.
That's beautiful. That's where you get the spiritual aspect
Yeah.
and the
Yeah, I have to have direction.
yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely, an influence.
Mm-hmm.
You can see that in all of the work that you do, Cookie. You can see that spiritual drive, and I call it the jaw drop moment.
What?
So that's usually what you see when people first step into your gallery. It's just their jaws drop because there's so many beautiful things in here.
Yeah, but it's all
You know?
dolls. I said, well, I guess that's what he sees for me to fit for me to do dolls. I'm like, oh, can I do something else? No, dolls.
Yeah.
I'm doll out. So that's what I started putting the paper on their bodies and trying to, so I'm kind of tired of dolls now. But yeah, I love, and it's so magical if you actually. Now I can sit here and I see faces. I can see a face right at her knee, right here, just on her leg. You have, over here, if you come this way, you can see her face right at her knee. Yep, right there. You're right there. You can see her nose, her eyes, her face, the whole bodies. And this one here, you can see in the photograph. You can see the photo. I would say it's my mother in the back. I'm telling you, they're amazing.
That's
If
amazing.
you have to look at it, if you don't bring it out, most people don't see it, but it tells a story for me. So I don't know about anybody else.
Yeah, I can see where that would
Yeah, you can
definitely
see the
influence
face.
you.
And, I say it's my mom. I can see it in just in all the work. I can see.
And that's
Images, I would say images.
That's original
And that's what's
painting
fun
of yours?
about it, huh?
That's an original painting of yours in the middle there?
Yeah. Well, it's a paper collage, I would call it. It was some paint and some paper.
Mhm.
Yeah, of the angel, of the fairies.
Okay.
Yeah, that was, yeah.
All right, so I want to thank you for letting us share this beautiful space that you've created. And I'm looking forward to see where the Spirit leads you next.
Okay, all right, and I thank you, thank the banner. Yeah, thank you.